far. Two different stories. Quite a few of us got very loud rumbles of thunder, some heavy downpours, and those that haven't, it's been pretty toasty as we've gone throughout our Saturday, and that's going to continue to be the forecast heading into your Sunday, even into your Monday, but those rain chances kind of start to back off just a little bit as we get ready for the latter half of our weekend. So rumbles of thunder, they continue to sound this evening as the last few showers and storms are moving on out of North Mississippi. Don't worry, drier conditions, they are quickly returning later on tonight, pretty much reaching all of North Mississippi by midnight, 1 o'clock, and then we're good to go throughout the rest of the overnight period. So no overnight threat tonight for you guys nervous with these storms ongoing. We're not dealing with anything strong to severe, definitely not dealing with anything late. It is going to be a dry start to our Sunday morning, but that Mississippi mugginess, that's what we all want to know about, especially during the summertime months. How is it going to impact us? How just rough will it be? Well, it's definitely returning, and we'll let you know kind of what to expect as you get ready for the work week ahead. Let's start off with some live looks all across North Mississippi. This is starting out in Amory within Monroe County. Some strong storms out there to the south, and I wish I could spin that facing south because we're looking northeast right now, but kind of those overcast, gloomy skies where y'all aren't getting that rainfall. 81 degrees, that wind coming in around 10 miles per hour feels like 86. So if you get these showers, feeling a little bit better than the rest of North Mississippi, especially if y'all stay dry. So some impactful storms out there in Monroe County. Out here, take a look at the beautiful Mississippi State campus. A lot of students moving in this weekend. Very, very busy out there. They've received a lot of showers today. Quite a few rumbles of thunder. I know my phone was blowing up with everybody talking about how loud it was. 75 degrees, but feels like 73. So already feeling like you're in the low 70s. And to put this in perspective, that's about as low as we're dropping tonight. So already feeling pretty good. 13-mile-per-hour winds coming out of the northeast. Definitely feeling a little bit breezy as you're walking out to any Saturday evening plans. Now out here in Cleveland, totally different story. This is what I mean by kind of two different stories here in North Mississippi. We're starting off with temperatures around 91 degrees. Feels like 97. So complete opposites, whether you're on Mississippi State's campus out there in Oktibbeha County or out here in the Delta, enjoying some sunnier skies, drier conditions, but a little bit toastier. So we'll definitely have to cover all of you guys to make sure you know what to expect. So let's take a look at the first 12. We're starting off with temperatures in the low 80s by 7 o'clock, still dealing with 20% coverage as those showers and storms continue to move on out. To put this in perspective, we've already pretty much made it through the peak of storm coverage throughout North Mississippi today, and thankfully we didn't have to deal with any severe weather, hoping to keep that trend going within the next few hours. Starting to dry on up a little bit quicker and closer towards the 10 o'clock hours, temperatures in the upper 70s, and again, only cooling off towards the mid 70s, so still kind of a mild, just warm start to your day, partly cloudy skies. Also, a few of us dealing with some patchy areas of fog. For you guys that got some of those showers, you can see here on our Mama Justice Doppler radar, not quite as widespread as earlier. Now, I wish I could play the loop here. Our monitor won't let me do touchscreen, so I'll do that when we make it to our next portion of the broadcast, but we can kind of see some lingering showers and rumbles. Our total strikes are at just above 1,200, so we're dealing with quite a few rumbles of thunder all across North Mississippi, and I think those were almost doubled earlier on today. So we are seeing a downtrend as we continue into the rest of the evening, not dealing with anything strong, but still some hefty downpours moving through our region. Now let's take a look at surface analysis. We don't really have many weather makers in our region, or we're not really talking about any frontal systems. It's kind of more upper atmosphere dynamics that's occurring right now that's allowing us to see these rain chances, and that's going to continue throughout the rest of our weekend to where we still have chances for some thunderstorms that's your Sunday afternoon, even into your Monday afternoon, but they're not quite as widespread as today. So if I had to pick a rainier day throughout the weekend, that would be today. You did a great job getting through it. We'll enjoy much drier Sunday ahead tomorrow, and especially into our work week. So let's get ready for the rest of the weekend. We're starting off at 6:30. Futurecast doing pretty well with placement of the showers and intensity pretty much in the southeastern portion of our region. For you guys out there in Cleveland, Clarksville, y'all are already enjoying those sunny skies, so not doing too bad here at the 6 o'clock hour. And as we continue throughout the rest of the evening, you guys out there could see a few showers in the northern portions of the Delta, but we're really not talking about anything strong to intense. In fact, we're returning back to those dry skies later on overnight. It'll be a beautiful start to our Sunday morning, and even some of us enjoying some mostly sunny skies before we get back towards those partly cloudy and a few afternoon chances of some showers and thunderstorms. So that's what we're talking about here on the next 24. Low 70s or pretty much mid 70s to start off your day, partly cloudy skies, a brief break to enjoy some sunnier skies by the mid-morning hours, getting closer towards lunchtime, working our way up towards the upper 80s, low 90s, depending on where you are here in North Mississippi. I'll highlight that coming up here in the next few minutes. We're also dealing with a few rumbles of thunder tomorrow afternoon, a little bit less widespread than what we dealt with today. We're turning to drier conditions quicker tomorrow as well. So honestly, just an overall positive day in the forecast tomorrow. We're also cooling off towards the upper 70s by 9 o'clock. So that gives you a brief summary or description of what we're going to experience throughout the rest of the weekend, but I'll do a more in-depth look at those rain chances throughout the rest of the overnight period, how long they last, and who needs to keep that umbrella handy as you go about any Sunday afternoon plans tomorrow, and whether or not it can impact you at the start of your work week. All that's coming up as Mississippi Live at 6 continues right after this break.
I have been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.
Imagine your child with no place to sleep. For many children, that is their reality tonight. When you buy a mattress at Room to Room, we give one to a child in need through Beds for Kids. Buy a bed, give a bed, change a life.
For years, it's been the same formula. If it bleeds, it leads. You deserve better. We are Mississippi Live. We're focused on the stories that matter to you, to your community, to your family, because local matters. We are Mississippi Live.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Caleb Edelblut.
Well, thanks for sticking here with us for Mississippi Live at 6. Let's take a look at some Weather Watchers pictures. I always love highlighting pictures you guys send in through the app, and this kind of shows you in a clear visual how these storms and just heavy downpours work. You can see kind of some of those rain bands starting to fall off. You can kind of see those gray streaks in the sky, but you can still see the horizon very well. But follow this into the heavier downpours, you can't really see it much anymore. So that is what a lot of us have had to experience today, with also quite a few lightning strikes, rumbles of thunder, kind of limiting our visibility. But thankfully, drier conditions are on the way back, and they've also helped cool a few of us off. So let's take a look at your evening planner. We're still talking about these rain chances, not quite as prominent as what they were earlier this afternoon. Temperatures in the low 80s by 8 o'clock, mid 70s by 11, not cooling off much further. In fact, the only really weather story we have going on overnight tonight is some areas of some patchy fog for you guys that have received some of that rainfall. But once the sun starts to rise, not going to bother us too much as we go about our day tomorrow, and definitely going to kind of evaporate and leave pretty quickly for our Sunday morning church commute. Now, here's the two different stories that I'm talking about at the start of the broadcast. These are your heat indices, how it really feels as you're walking outdoors right now. And for those that got rainfall, I mean, we're feeling pretty nice. For you guys out there in Starkville, Tibaha County, 73 degrees. So you're already feeling a little bit cooler than how far we'll drop later on tonight for your overnight lows. And pretty much the eastern portion of our viewing area, not bad, feeling very bearable, below average for this time of year, but 102 out there in Clarksdale, triple digits for Tunica, Greenwood, Belzona, the southern portions of the Delta. You guys haven't seen that much rainfall. It's a give and take with these forecasts. You got to deal with those soggy and just kind of lazy, rainy conditions, but there are some positives. Makes you feel a little bit better into your eating plans, but I know we also enjoy not having to deal with them, so we can do some stuff outdoors. So let's get ready for the rest of our Saturday evening. We're dealing with a few showers and storms lingering here in North Mississippi, but as we continue throughout the rest of the evening, we're really not dealing with anything strong or intense. Even by the 10 o'clock broadcast, could be dealing with a heavier shower out there towards Lafayette County, but in the grand scheme of everything North Mississippi, mostly dry conditions, they're already on their way back later on tonight. Not going to be completely back pretty much midnight and on. We're not dealing with anything strong or extreme overnight tonight. In fact, it's just going to be dry and partly cloudy skies, and a few of us dealing with some fog as we start off our morning. Now, here are those low temperatures. Again, Starkville, you already feel like 73 degrees, and that's about as low as we're dropping. So y'all are already feeling amazing as y'all go about the rest of y'all's evening tonight, but pretty much low to mid 70s all across our region. And this is right around average. So I know it's a mild start to the morning, but that's just how summertime typically goes here in Mississippi. Can't quite escape the heat no matter what time of the day it is. In fact, we'd have to have a strong front come on through, and that brings severe weather we don't want to have to deal with that, which it means it's also going to be a beautiful day to go out by the pool tomorrow. Mid 70s as you're starting off the day by 8 o'clock, upper 80s already by noon. Afternoon hours gets a little bit tricky depending on where you are here in North Mississippi, kind of dealing with some of those afternoon pop-up thunderstorms like what we dealt with today. Not talking about anything strong to intense. In fact, only saw one severe thunderstorm warning in our region, and that was out there in Alabama, just east of our viewing area, so not bothering us, but still possible, which is why we keep our eyes on it 24/7 around the clock. But that UV index also getting pretty high, so going to feel pretty toasty as you go about the day. Keep that sunscreen handy. It's still going to be a beautiful Sunday as we get ready to wrap up the weekend. So let's take a look at Futurecast. We're dealing with those partly cloudy skies depending on where you are here in North Mississippi. A little bit sunnier for you guys out there in the Delta as y'all are starting off y'all Sunday morning. We're not dealing with any rainfall, so a very dry start to our day. In the warmest around 93 degrees, but we don't really want to know the highs. We want to know how it actually feels outdoors. And honestly, still bearable. I know we're talking about triple digits, but we're not talking about anything extreme or just downright toasty and muggy because we're not reaching 105 or greater, which means we're not talking about those heat advisories or extreme heat warnings just quite yet. So that's a precursor to what we will start to talk about for your work week ahead before our weekend's still pretty nice, which of course, perfect time to go out to the courts, especially if you time it just right. Mid 70s by 7 o'clock, upper 80s by 12, low 90s by 3 o'clock if you guys are able to push up that far, and then mid 80s by 7 o'clock as that sun continues to set. Perfect time to go out, enjoy some pickleball and outdoor time. Now our strike model, this is a different one that we're showing you compared to the HRRR that you were just looking at. Still giving us some rain chances, a little bit more widespread compared to that higher resolution one we just showed. So we're gonna keep our eyes on this, but still dealing with some light showers across our region by 6 o'clock, but they're not lasting quite long. In fact, we're reaching those drier conditions a little bit quicker tomorrow, enjoying a mostly clear overnight period and honestly a sunny start to your Monday morning. So I know Monday mornings we all dread, but this is not too bad as we get ready for the work week. But take a look at that wind. It's kind of coming in almost southwesterly, which means it's bringing more moisture to our region, which means we're also going to start feeling warmer than those temperatures are, which we already do, but warmer and warmer as each day goes on. We're still dealing with some of those showers. Again, very isolated, just pop-up showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder as you go about your Monday afternoon. And then we're going to continue to get closer to drier conditions, even by 6 o'clock, still dealing with some of those showers, but mostly dry conditions already returning. That wind continuing to blow out of the south, making us just feel really, really muggy as we go about our Monday. And that's going to continue to build throughout the rest of the work week ahead. Thankfully, we're already enjoying those drier and clearer skies as we head and look forward to a Tuesday morning coming on up. Now, those high temperatures for your Monday, take a look at this. We're already starting to warm on up. In fact, we're not talking about 80s anymore, except for you guys out there in Red Bay. Y'all continue to press every time, but we're really talking about low to mid 90s. I say that 96 in Greenville, 95 Belzona. We're going to feel dramatically warmer than those temperatures. Take a look at that. 106 out there in Greenville and Belzona. You guys could start talking about heat advisories as early as Monday, and honestly, maybe even a little bit earlier. We could be talking about that for your Sunday. Hoping we're not dealing with that, especially with the rain chances today, lingering cloud cover. That should help us going into our Sunday tomorrow. But this will be the story. 105 out there in Houston, 106 Tunica, 108 out there in Clarksdale. Heat advisories, they will start to spread across North Mississippi, and we'll have to be really careful as we go about the next few days as some more dangerous heat makes its way back. So let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. We're still dealing with those rain chances a little bit on your Sunday and Monday. Again, I'd say today was more prominent than what we will deal with throughout the next 48 hours ahead, but we're slowly working our way up. Now, I know it looks very minimal, only making our way up towards pretty much the low to mid 90s, but the feels like values, those are going to continue to soar and pretty much reach 110 or greater in some spots in North Mississippi, meaning extreme heat warnings. That will be an issue, especially by hump day, maybe even a little bit earlier. So make sure to stay updated with us here. We'll keep you guys informed throughout the rest of the work week. We're still dealing with a few rain chances on your Thursday, but drying up Friday and Saturday, and that's a great sight to see. Normally, we're talking about rain chances every weekend here in North Mississippi. Can't quite escape them as we want to enjoy some weekend plans. But as of right now, we're looking pretty dry and a little bit toastier as well. So hopefully we can keep that trend going. But coming up in the next 60 seconds, I'm going to break down kind of what to expect with those feels like values throughout the next 7 days, kind of put it in a good visual representation for you guys, but also show you how thunderstorms work, because that's been in the forecast today, heading into tomorrow and Monday. So a little lesson to understand how that works and kind of what all goes into the weather. Always love sharing kind of behind the scenes with you guys. All that's coming up as Mississippi Live at 6 continues right after this break.
Dust off your favorite shotgun and sign up for the Natchez Trace Council Clay Classic. Call 662-842-2871 or visit natcheztracecouncil.org.
I always make sure I'm safely strapped in before I start driving. So I always check that my child is buckled correctly in her car seat. Check that your kids are in the right seat for their age and size at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Welcome back to Mississippi Live at 6. I wanted to start off showing you guys the current alerts all across our region. There's not much to look at, and that's exactly why I'm showing it. We are not dealing with any of those heat advisories, extreme heat warnings, so it's always a good thing in meteorology or weather when we're not seeing a lot of color on the map. That's always a good thing. So not dealing with impressive or extreme heat just quite yet, but I do expect some of those kind of oranges, those purples to start spreading across North Mississippi within the next few days. And of course, we'll keep that throughout all of our broadcasts as well to keep you guys updated. So let's take a look at why this is going to occur. These are our heat indices throughout the next 7 days. Again, today's been bearable in quotation marks. Of course, nothing's really bearable here in Mississippi throughout the summertime months, but we're not quite reaching 105. In fact, we're not really reaching it tomorrow, so not expecting those advisories to take place for your Sunday. They could be issued to get you ready for your work week, as a few of us will reach that. But Monday and Tuesday, kind of getting right on the fringe of 105, crossing that Wednesday. Thursday is our peak. Toasty and muggy conditions are on the way to North Mississippi, pretty much going to affect us throughout most of our work week ahead. And then we're seeing much needed relief come Saturday, so it is going to feel absolutely fantastic a week from now. And part of that's due to rain chances and just thunderstorms. So let's take a look at how that works and kind of what's going on in the atmosphere for these thunderstorms to occur. We were talking about earlier in the broadcast how we really don't see them, or honestly a lack of cloud cover throughout the morning hours until the afternoon. And that's because we need that warm air. Warm air rises, bringing that upward motion, and that's what forms all of those clouds. So you saw that in Futurecast. We're honestly enjoying mostly sunny skies throughout our Sunday morning. But as the sun continues to rise, continues to just heat North Mississippi up, those parcels, they begin to rise, and that allows clouds to occur and kind of that condensation to form. And that's where we reach the second stage, the mature stage, where we were talking about that vertical development. In fact, I posted on my Facebook earlier today as I was driving up here. You could see vertical clouds all across North Mississippi. Why? Those thunderstorms are in the forecast. And that's where we start to see that updraft and downdraft occur at the same time. So those clouds, they're really starting to grow very vertically. Strong updraft and downdraft present at the same time, and that's kind of forcing everything to go up before making its way down. And that's when the severe weather occurs. It's usually during the dissipation phase, and that's where what the saying is, what goes up must come down. So everything that builds on up has to make its way back down towards the surface, becomes downdraft dominant. That's where we see those gusty winds. And I know somebody in the comments was asking, is there any severe weather to be expected? We have not seen any today, and in fact, since we have not seen any by the 6 o'clock hour, we would need to see a rogue storm just push past the limits and try to exceed expectations for that to occur, which is why I'm keeping my eyes on it all the way up towards the 9 o'clock broadcast. But saying that, we haven't seen too much here in North Mississippi, not expecting too much more as we get ready for that sun to set and cool off that kind of fuel, that battery for these storms to occur. So that shows you what to expect. Now, I also know Jason, he's a regular, asking where's the dew point sitting for the week, and I always love risking it and doing stuff on air. So we'll see if this works, and I have a graphic for it. But if we don't, I'm going to come back at you with the answer to that question during the 9 o'clock. Let me back out of that. The best thing I could probably show you is our misery mugginess. I think is what we called it. Misery meter. There we go. I'm combining words right here. This is always a fun graphic to show, and I think it factors in dew points. It has Leo there, just downright miserable with this summer heat. And we're honestly miserable throughout the next few days just with that Mississippi mugginess. In fact, we're off the charts, and it takes a while for us to kind of get closer to falling slightly below miserable, and that's for Saturday. So what you just saw for our heat indices, that allows you to feel a little bit better come this time next week. So looks like you're still in the comments, you're saying yay, so I'm glad that helped answer your question. I always love answering anything you guys throw at me, so always enjoy looking at the comments behind the scenes, especially during break, because it's hard to balance it while talking to you guys now. So very excited to continue giving you the latest broadcast later on tonight. Let me make sure I can move this back. Don't know where my mouse went. There we go. There we go. All right, want to make sure everything's working properly. But appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to Mississippi Live at 6. If you haven't done so already, please download the Mississippi Live weather app. It's an important tool. In fact, it's probably sent you guys several notifications today as y'all dealt with some of those showers, those storms, some lightning strikes, maybe even some hail that just tried to make its way down to the surface, not reaching severe criteria for you guys wondering, but it lets you know every time some impactful weather is on the way, gives you a good heads up. That way you can plan for the rest of your evening ahead. In fact, the best way to stay updated and ready is with these Mississippi Live broadcasts. We'll be live later on tonight at 9 and 10 to continue getting you ready for those rain chances tomorrow and lack thereof throughout the rest of the night. So just got to push through a little bit longer with those showers and rumbles continuing to ring across North Mississippi, but we'll feel a lot better coming up here in the next few hours. So until then, y'all continue to enjoy y'all's weekend. Enjoy what's left of y'all Saturday. I'm already looking forward to talking and hanging out with you guys later on tonight at 9. Until then, I'll see y'all later.
Growing up in a farming community, I've always been fascinated with the weather. But in 2024, my draw to be a mother became stronger.
So I took a step back from my job until Matt gave me a call. Mississippi Live allows me to be fully present at home while also getting to do my dream job as a broadcast meteorologist.
Wake up with me every weekday morning on Mississippi Live.